It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
A fine Saturday morning to you, Steve. A fine Faith Bagora. Oh, Andy. Whither Andy? Whither Andy?
See? We just... we need to rename the show. We can't. It's not Saturday
top of the morning
it's just
for movies.
Top of the morning at the next reel to you.
Yeah, Steve, how are you?
It's nice being on the same time zone. It makes things easier on these Saturdays now.
It sure does. Oh, hallelujah. I'm glad to be back Saturday morninging with you.
Yes.
Been off for a little bit, and I have deeply enjoyed you and Andy trying to get through your accent introductions the last couple of weeks.
I don't know if
weirdly
it's just not
satisfying.
being fully awake. Yes, because I can't imagine what it is. It's not. I'm like, how do I break him of this habit? But it's, I think about other routine. It's like when you have a certain routine, you have to get out of that. That helps, break habits. But I'm like, no, he sits down in front of this computer to record not just this show. He's got this, weekly show he does with you. He's got the film board. Yeah. He's got
all of the Marvel movie minute.
And he doesn't start any of those with weird.
He's got, I know what it is. I feel like I know what it is. When we first started this show, I would start saying a fine Saturday morning to you, Andy. Right. And I think as an American, it is very difficult to say, and I deal with this too, a fine blah, blah, blah to you and not drift into an Irish accent. Because you just wanted a fine blah blah blah, and I think that's what happened, and it just became top of the morning joke, and I think that's Andy's thing. I'll bet he needs to confirm that for us. I think it starts with a fine Saturday matinee to you. Yeah, the stereotypical Saturday morning leprechaun.
But you can do it without a problem. You can say a fine Saturday morning. Saturday matinee.
No. Let me just tell you, it makes my brain explode to have to not do that. I'm the worst.
You've got some cognitive dissonance going on. I know I have to do this, but my voice wants to do that.
There are explosions in my head. Anyhow, what do we have going on in movies this fine week? What have we missed this week?
I'm excited that on Netflix, it's semi movie related. Season 2 of the OA dropped. So I've got that hanging out there on my list of must to see things, and finally got around to watching Venom.
Oh, what'd you think of it?
It was one that my daughter had been like, "Can we watch Venom sometime? Can we rent that? Can we get that?" I'm like, I'd heard it was meh, so it was at Redbox. Check that out, and we both agreed, it was all right. She said, it wasn't a great movie. She said, she's like the writing. I said, for the woman, she goes, yeah, it was kind of some clunky dialogue for her there at the beginning. I said, yeah, it was. And she said, overall, it was, not a great movie, but I'm glad I saw it, and I'm interested to see where they go with this. And I said, I'd say sound analysis on that one. It wasn't anything stellar. Enjoyed it. I did not know they were setting this up for, sequels.
Yeah.
With their little mid credits, Woody Harrelson thing. But yeah, it was interesting. I don't know that much about Venom, so I didn't know where this story was going. I mean, all I knew was from, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3. So when I know early on in the movie that one of these alien things is escaped, I'm like, oh, that's going to be Venom. But then I'm like, oh no, when we see that Eddie gets this other one and this other one is still coming from overseas, I thought, oh, there's going to be our big conflict. It's going to be Venom versus whatever this other thing is. Yeah. I don't need to see it again.
But you're glad you saw it the first time.
I've seen it, but yeah, I just expected a little bit more. I've seen Tom Hardy in better things, and his choices, I fear he's I don't know. I don't want him to turn into Gerard Butler, where you're just like, why are you making these choices?
Yeah.
Really? Why? Yeah. And then Michelle Williams, I was like, what? Really? There was a lot.
Yeah, we've talked about
them both in much
Michelle
better things.
Williams. There are things that, I just get I like her, and there are things that I have trouble embracing her in, and this was one of them. I actually didn't have trouble with Tom Hardy in this role. I agree with you. I definitely have liked him in better, but when you're doing a movie for the paycheck, and this movie's tracking 855 million at the box office worldwide, that it's we're going to see more Venom. And here's hoping that they can pull it together, and that maybe they get a little bit of dose of the Disney crossover magic, which is actually leads to our another story I would like to talk to you about, which is a little bit more practical. Sure. Disney 21st Century Fox layoffs. Variety reports TV divisions bracing for deep cuts. We're in the middle of the season of layoffs as the integration continues over to integrating 21st Century Fox operations into Disney. And man, a lot of people are getting pink slips. That started last week. Very sorry to see that natural, price of consolidation in terms of our just massive human-made organisms that are these huge conglomerates, but it is sad to see as these companies come together. So,
that's the collateral damage that everybody forgets about, and everybody's excited about what this means for their entertainment. We can have these characters, this and that, and then you're thinking, there's the other side of this, of what happens when you get these monolithic corporations in an industry of, there's one employer. There's, that's it. We don't need 5 people. We need 1 person to do this one job. Ooh.
It's grim, and it's grim when you sit back and look at it just like that. Like, oh, we did this to ourselves. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Where do you stand on Us? Have you? It's out, right?
It's out, and I haven't seen it.
Tracking very well.
Oh, huge. I saw they said it's funny how we like to really slice and dice our box off to say it's the number 1 R-rated horror film that's not based on prior material. I mean, we get really specific into things. It's at the best.
That stars more than 3
films.
Characters with a B in their names. Like, come on.
Yes. Well, it said it was like top 10 horror or something like that. It like knocked the one article I read, and I don't remember where I saw this. Said it knocked Freddy versus Jason out, and I was in the writer commented, Freddy versus Jason, really? That's still up there in this like top 10 horror box office weekends? He's like, I knew people were excited to see it. I didn't know they were that excited. And I thought, and I guess it's coming in below, like the qualifiers come in because it's less than It or last year's Halloween,
but not by much.
Remake, but not by much. But in order to set it as, separate, we have to say, it's an original story, which I am thrilled. I always love when we're getting into original content. So this is one. My brother's coming out this weekend. We may sneak off to see this one because I don't think anyone else in the family is going to want to be scared in the dark.
You know what
for this one, but I'm looking forward to it.
I think I am too, and it's one of those movies. You talk about it, you bring up that qualifier about original material, and that is certainly one side of the coin. The other side is that Jordan Peele, I think, has a name for himself now based on Get Out, right? And I feel like that's his original material bit, right? This is feels like to many a spiritual sequel just because it's his next thing. And I marvel at how quickly he was able to build himself a legacy as this sort of social horror thriller director and writer, with just a pair of films.
Yeah, he's also got on CBS the
Twilight Zone's coming.
Zone
Yeah,
thing.
is that hasn't released yet?
Yeah.
I don't think, and that's a CBS All Access property.
Yeah, which CBS
I know.
All Access,
Yeah.
but he's when you look at just you're thinking, oh, he's he had his one surprise out there with Get Out, but then when the trailer for Us dropped, it's like, wow, he's got some big stories to tell. He's got apparently a deep well to go to. I'm excited to see where he goes as a filmmaker. If he can we talked about this a little bit on the Happy Death Day to You film board of sort of like the resurgence in horror, that we're getting horror, but it's really diverse. We're getting things like Happy Death Day 2, which is sort of horror, light horror, PG-13, but then we're getting, things of this nature like Us, where we've got the things that I love, which is horror that has something to say. Why is this film scaring us? Because it's peeling back the layers on issues in society and bringing those up in a way that we can discuss. And to have all these avenues for horror and really quality stuff, not just, the torture goo stuff from 10, 12 years ago, which didn't there's some, to me, I read, I was in a Stephen King kick back in high school, and I read his book of essays, Dance Macabre, and he talked about the 50s and horror, and how good horror basically is focusing on those unspoken terrors that exist in society that we're not willing to confront, or that are there, and horror gives us a different way to talk about them. So all the big bug movies of the 50s was all about this, fear of nuclear technology and what happens with radiation. And then in the 80s, he talked about, all the slasher films, which tied back to, teens and STDs and what happens when you have sex. Oh, you die.
Right.
That there was that, exact. So now what I'm seeing here is we're getting, another wave of that, where horror is starting to look at what are the things that scare us, that we're not confronting, and he's bringing those out to the forefront. So,
and he's sort of shepherding us into this resurgence, and he's a great, I think, a great personality to do that. Really enjoy his work, and if you haven't seen his edition, the Key and Peele Hot Ones episode on YouTube, it's a must see.
Oh, I don't think I've gotten through to that. What I just discovered Hot Ones a couple months ago,
great.
And yes,
for those who don't know, it's a show in which I don't even know the name of the company, but it's the most brilliant advertising platform I've ever seen. They make hot sauce, and they do these interviews where they ask the questions. It's a regular kind of talking head interview, but as they're doing it, they're eating wings with progressively hot sauces on them, and by the end, Key and Peele in this particular episode are having a straight up stroke as they eat these 150,000 Scoville hot pepper hot sauces on wings. It's amazing. It's very, very funny.
It's the interviews are great, because he will dig into stuff. I love he's got a thing where he's talks about Instagram, and he goes deep into Instagram accounts and finds stuff from 5-6 years ago, and is oh, tell me about this. And usually it's at a point where they're at a heat level on the wings and several people have said, am I on drugs? I feel like I'm hallucinating right now. They can't think clearly. They're so distracted by the fire in their belly and their mouth that it catches them off guard. And you get really honest answers out of people that, are usually really good at keeping their composure and thinking about, okay, I've got to give my public, response to this. Natalie Portman, you can see a lot of that on her. She's done lots of interviews and how she's handling that. But there's some, Kevin Hart just falls apart. Just loses it completely.
There was I can't remember. There was one that just ate it. I don't remember if it was Seth Meyers, somebody who just ate every single bite and was unfazed by anything he threw at him. I thought it was great. Just to get the details right. So the host is Sean Evans, and he is fantastic.
Yes.
The show was created by Christopher Schoenberger at First We Feast media, and it is a YouTube series that's absolutely worth watching if you haven't seen it. It's been out for like 8 seasons of interviews now. There are a ton of interviews, like 145 episodes of the show, and I also came to it late, so I've got a lot of catch up to do, but it's really good.
Oh, it's easy to binge because an episode's maybe 20 minutes long.
Short.
So, that's great. I'll have to catch that one. Key and Peele on Hot Ones.
It's good.
All right.
We also have tomorrow. It's not tomorrow. It's the day after tomorrow. It's Monday as we record this. Apple has a special event. Have you heard about this one?
No.
This is big.
I know that I'd read they were refreshing some of the desktop stuff with, as they do, like, we're going to increase processor speed. We're going to do this.
No. This is a special event, 10 a.m. Pacific time U.S. On Monday the 25th. It looks like Apple is finally going to raise the curtain, so to speak, on their upcoming bundled TV service and all of their, they're getting into the Netflix game. They've been spending a lot on their exclusive properties, and apparently they're doing it in a typically Apple way, where the executives are way too involved in creative production, and they're telling the notes are coming back to producers and directors saying, "Don't be so mean." Those are the kinds of production notes that they're getting. Apparently, this is we're not going to get any of the Marvel Netflix style exclusives. These are going to be kinder, gentler exclusives, family friendly. It includes shows like a Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston morning show drama, an Emily Dickinson half-hour series starring Haley Steinfeld, dramas Little Voices and My Glory was I Had Such Friends from exclusive producer J.J. Abrams, and the latter to star Jennifer Garner. Are You Sleeping? Starring Octavia Spencer. Adaptation of the book Defending Jacob, starring and executive produced by Chris Evans. Based on a true story CIA drama starring Captain Marvel's Brie Larson. And a video game development studio company, a comedy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia's Rob McElhenney and Charlie Day. That sounds like an expensive launch platter, don't you think?
Yes, it does. But how are you going to do comedy
from Rob McElhenney and Charlie Day?
It's going to be comedy that's not
square peg pie. This is round hole. I'd like to work something out, right?
This is an interesting experiment to see how this goes. Oh yeah, I'm glad to hear there's an announcement. Sounds like some interesting, but what's getting cluttered out there?
Cluttered. And they've tried this. Yeah. They have the TV app, right, which you get on iOS devices and on the Apple TV, and that whole thing was their initial foray, was just to tie networks together, so people would have one place to go to watch. And Netflix said, we're not going to pipe our stuff through there. Hulu said, we're not going to pipe our stuff. We're busy trying to get everybody to pipe their stuff through our stuff. And so there's no stuff piping going on right now. There are some, but it's largely the way you get Apple's kind of iTunes properties. And so it'll be really interesting to see if people kind of migrate to the TV experience once they have a larger slate of exclusive properties. And these names, if not these names, I don't know who. Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a rumor that Oprah is involved at some point to do something for Apple. So if not these, I don't know who's going to do it. So,
and then Disney has their whole thing coming later this year as well.
Right, and you can bet that won't be piped through. Their stuff won't be piped. There will be no stuff piping with Disney. They're trying to unstuff other pipes.
Well, so I've had my Apple TV for a while, and I recall when I first got it, I could get Netflix on there, and then I could get Hulu on there, but you couldn't get Amazon, which I thought, that makes sense.
Well, now you can. They fixed that.
Yeah. Right, they fixed that. But for me, at the point, I said, because Apple I go to buy things. Netflix, I'm paying a subscription, so there's no direct, competition. But then when Amazon, showed up in there, I thought, that's interesting, because then I could buy my stuff from Amazon, but watch it through my Apple TV. And I thought, interesting, conflict there resolved. Apple was, if you locked Amazon out and you wanted to watch something, it was like, oh, well, you have to buy it from us. But then by allowing Amazon sort of into their playground, I'm like, well, you're allowing me to now not have to buy stuff from you. I'll be interested to see what changes with Apple TV now happens if, our Netflix and Hulu still going to be allowed to play in their playground, or is this a whole separate?
I don't know. I am one of those people where I look at my Apple TV and I see all of the apps that I have access to, all those services, Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, CW, they all have their apps. And I think, okay, things are generally not broken for me right now. I can access all the content I want when I want it. I just have to tap around a few little buttons. So I don't know what problem this solves. And I worry that in their effort to solve problems, they're going to create relationships that will cost me more money to get more stuff and or to get the stuff that I already have. And it's been moving in that direction already. And I find that really frustrating. We'll see. If anything, Apple has a lot of money, and this is, I feel like we've been watching them transition from a hardware to a services company for years. And this is going to be, I think, a major milestone in their march toward becoming the services company of media. They're just going to keep throwing money at it over the next 10 years until we won't remember that they weren't in this business.
That's true. Yes.
Does anybody remember what it was like before they were a phone company? Right. That was a long time ago for a lot of us. So anyhow.
Oh yeah.
What's going on in Marvel world?
In Marvel World? I don't know. Andy's not here, so I don't know what's going on in Marvel World. I know. And Marvel World's on hold because Andy's not here. Well, the one thing
everybody has stopped work, actually. I don't know if you realize this.
Yes.
Marvel's taking the day off since Andy's not here.
Well, the one thing, and I think I'd thrown this out in Discord and tagged Andy in it because I said this is his perfect way to get paid to do all his prep work is, you may have seen this on Facebook, that you can get paid $1,000 to watch all 20 Marvel movies back to back before Avengers Endgame. And I so I saw, and this is from cabletv.com. Apparently there's a whole job application, but you're going to be watching Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, First Avengers. You're going to go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, all the way up to Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then you will get every Marvel MCU film on Blu-ray, including all 3 Blu-ray box sets and a Marvel Marathon Survival Kit, which consists of a Captain America popcorn popper, some Orville Redenbacher popcorn, a Thanos Infinity Gauntlet mug, an Iron Man Snuggie, Grubhub gift card, and a whole bunch of more Marvel gear. And you can, there's a link you can click to apply to learn more about the position. You have to fill out an application, about 200 words about your Marvel expertise and social media platforms, because I'm assuming you're going to be tweeting and Instagram.
Well, you're going to have to tell everybody about the diabetes you got while you were watching 30 hours of Marvel movies.
Exactly. So there's that bit of Marvel just insanity. But that's, all about the past Marvel. And Andy and I have talked, I've asked him a few times about moving forward in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how we're sort of facing a fog about what happens in the future. Because years ago we were like, oh, we knew we were getting Guardians and we were getting Doctor Strange, and it was like 2 and 3 years out and we had these phases, and it's like Endgame is this like, it's the fog of war. We don't know what's on the other side of that. But just earlier this week, saw on Variety that they're starting to give us a little bit more information about the Black Widow movie, and they have added Florence Pugh. I'm gonna guess on my pronunciation here, who recently was in Fighting with My Family. So she's been announced to have a role in that. Things are starting to ramp up with this production. So we have gone from from fan demand of why don't we have a Black Widow movie to, oh, it's rumored to, actually now things are moving forward in this direction, somewhere beyond the shadow, the fog of war out there after Endgame. Yes.
I'm a little bit nervous because there's a report that the most recent draft of the Black Widow script by Jack Schaefer takes place prior to the Avengers events of the Avengers, like the first Avengers. So it's a prequel, right? Just like we had with Captain Marvel. And so what are we to make of Natasha in Infinity War? That's kind of now that all this news is leaking, I guess it's still safe to assume that all bets are off in terms of who from Phase 1 survives Infinity War. We'll see. But apparently the release date slots for 2020 are, May 1, July 31, and November 6. And so we have Guardians of the Galaxy will be in there somewhere. And they're saying that...
No, that's going to be 2021.
That's 2021 now. Okay.
Because he's... I don't know. I think Andy and I talked about last week. Oh, and there was some offline discussion because... James Gunn is attached to Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad reboot, which he's finishing up, which is going to be 2020, which Andy and I had speculated on whether it was a reboot or sequel. And now I think Andy shared an article or somebody posted an article. Oh no, it's full on reboot for Suicide Squad. So that pushes Guardians 3 to 2020.
That's good because everybody's already forgotten Suicide Squad. So timely, DC, timely.
I was curious about the timeline on Black Widow because if they can de-age Samuel Jackson 20 years for Captain Marvel, there's, we could have 17-year-old Natasha in the Black Widow,
Well, that's interesting because Scarlett Johansson hasn't aged since she was 17, so that's going to be fine. It's fine. Looks like director Kate Shortland is one out as director of Black Widow, and that will probably be the May 1 date. Is what we're reading. So,
okay.
That'll be good.
Well, it makes sense that would be announced after all of the, wow, a female-led superhero movie made lots of money. What a surprise to us.
That's right.
Now that they've woken up and realized, what? Women in leading a movie can make money? Oh, I guess we can start moving that Black Widow thing forward.
Right. It took us a while to figure out that Scarlett Johansson, she may really have something.
Yes.
Studios.
Gosh, yes.
Let's do trailers, Steve.
Okay. What do we have for trailers? We don't have any Red Band. No. We don't have any A24. No. You post yours first, so you go ahead.
Steve, I'm doing John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Oh, Steve.
Yeah.
I like me some John Wick movies. I really do.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't love a John Wick
And as you
movie?
know, the rule of John Wick movies is if you start John Wick 1, you have to watch John Wick 2. They are to be considered an inseparable set. Therefore, every time you watch one of them, you have to watch them both. I cannot wait to add Chapter 3 to the mix. And every time you watch John Wick, it's like a 9-hour endeavor. I am deeply excited.
It is. Yeah. It's like watching 24 because one just feeds right in another. So, yes, when John Wick 12 comes out, it'll be like, okay, hey, we're going to pay somebody $1,000 to binge all 12 John Wicks back to back. And people say, yeah, I do it every weekend. I'm right here.
Get ready for that sabbatical, people. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about the cast of this one. Ian McShane obviously is back. We've got Asia Kate Dillon as the adjudicator. I did not know that Asia Kate Dillon was in this, but I'm a big fan of their work in Billions. If you're not watching Billions, what a terrific show that was or is. Halle Berry's in it, Jerome Flynn, Jason Mantzoukas. What? How is Jason Mantzoukas? How is that guy able to sit still long enough to be in a movie? He does the best guest spots because he's a nut. But this movie's it's long. Like the shooting days, I imagine, are long. Have you ever seen any behind the scenes of Jason Mantzoukas? I have not. And I just imagine, I just have no idea how he's going to be able to pay attention long enough to make a movie. I'm so excited to see this.
Yeah.
We just finished. I've now watched The Good Place. Are you a fan of The Good Place?
Oh, we love The Good Place in this house.
I watched
Maximum Derek. Oh yes,
his brain is wrong. He is fantastic at The Good Place, and I'm very excited. I've watched the entire season 1 and 2 3 times in the last month. because I've had to introduce it to my mom and my dad, and they were in different places.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I think I have it memorized. So very excited about that. Robin Lord Taylor is in it.
Yes.
He plays the Penguin in DC's Gotham TV show. And he is great. Very excited to see him on the big screen too. And Angelica Houston, Lance Reddick, of course, is back. Hiroyuki Sanada is great to see him. At least rumored. We don't have him confirmed here on IMDb. I did not know that, but I love seeing his name in the list. So it's an amazing cast. John Wick's on a horse. They put together all of the best looking action sequences and made an entire across Hollywood and made just a movie of that. And I'm okay. I am so into it.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. I just. When the first teaser or just any info about this came out, I was like, all right, well, I know where I'm going that weekend. Because, yes, I think when I saw the first John Wick film, I read somewhere, somebody said it's the best comic book movie that's not based on the comic.
That is
and I think that captures...
True.
It is. It's just amped up. And I love they started with such a solid world, they did all this world building without taking up so much like time with exposition, and it keeps growing and getting larger and larger. They keep adding characters and the scope keeps expanding, and it all holds together still. It's not hitting this mass where things are starting to crumble. Like, wow, we bring in Angelica Houston, really? This is all because of a dog? Yeah. Oh,
it's about more than a dog.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, yes.
Now, I just want to tell you, Chad Stahelski is the director, and he is an amazingly proficient stuntman. He's been in an awful lot of things just in stunts and as a stunt coordinator, and now he's directing. And given his performance as director on John Wick 2, John Wick now 3, as excited as we are about it, when I tell you that he is slated to direct a reboot or remake, not sure which, of Highlander, how does that make you feel?
Oh, well, yeah, that's one of those tricky things. And it's the same way I feel about, Denis Villeneuve and Dune,
Dune,
where I'm
right.
Dune, where I'm like, oh, you're taking on something that I don't know how this is going to go, because this could go bad in so many ways. But it depends what the approach to Highlander is. I think you listened to the Deconstruction Workers podcast, right? Yeah. They had an episode talking about reboots, remakes, and revivals.
What does that do to fandom?
And fandom, and just what is the difference between the two? And so whether this is a reboot of Highlander, or is it a remake where we're going to have the same characters, or are we going to reinvent the entire universe? So I'm hoping for more of a reboot, sort of like Star Trek did. Give us some familiar characters, but take us in a completely in a familiar world, but in a different direction. I never watched the TV show Highlander. I never saw any of the sequels. I loved that first one. I said, that's all I need. But I will cautiously get excited about this. It's time. It's time for a new Highlander, I would say, if done well, with the level of insane action that I see in John Wick, to have that in the Highlander universe. Yeah, I'll be on board for that.
I think so. It's apparently going to be penned by Rampage writer Ryan Condal, who also did Hercules and the TV show Colony and Logan's Run. He's behind the coming reboot of Logan's Run and then Highlander. But you know what? This is one of those where, given the trust that I have now, thanks to John Wick, I can guarantee you already that this is a movie that will hurt me to love. Because I'm with you. Like, it's going to hurt because I love the original Highlander, but I'm into it anyway. I'm okay with it.
Yes.
All right.
Well, and then there's, speaking of the John Wick universe, it's been kind of quiet for the past nearly year, but I recall last year they announced there was going to be a TV series about the Continental and I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know where that property lies, who owns it. I thought it was Netflix, but now who knows with everything else going on. It looks like, I'm seeing something that maybe Stars has. I don't know. But it's one of those things where I keep my fingers crossed that is, sort of the expansion of that John Wick universe where we have some interesting story. The creators have interesting outlet for stories to tell that is not going to diminish the John Wick franchise, because I'm all aboard for John Wick 4, 5, 6,
whatever.
However, they keep going. John Wick versus Hobbs and Shaw down the road. Sure, bring it on.
Yep. Eagerly. Yeah, there's still nothing in IMDb on the Continental. It's just a blank page. So, here's hoping for some news on that. Anyway, that's my trailer. And I did not, I didn't say when it opens because I wasn't looking at it, but I can tell you. I can. It'll just be a second. Because I tabbed away. Mm-hmm.
Tabs.
Tab. May 17th. May 17th. Can't come soon enough.
we missed in our news, and I totally forgot about this until you mentioned John Wick. And I was traveling for work, so this sort of showed up in my news feed. I didn't get a chance to read it. Bill and Ted Face the Music. Release date of August 21st, 2020. I guess looks like Keanu and Alex put a little video together to announce a release date on that. So, goodness. Movie will be directed by Dean Pariso. Galaxy Quest? I'm on board for that.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay,
in fact,
there we go.
I can't quite imagine a better director for that.
No.
Taking that on.
There we go.
Wow. Okay.
All right. I missed that in the news, but Keanu brought it back around for me. There we go. I knew there was something with that face. Okay.
And William Sadler is back as the Grim Reaper.
Yes. See, this is franchise material that I look forward to, that I don't say, they're going back to that well again. It's been too long since we drank from that well. It has been far too long. Oh, thank you guys for that.
I'm really just glad that Alex Winter is I'm glad for him. You know what I mean? I think I think this is a good thing for him to do. There was that wonderful movie I talked about. I'm sure I brought it up on the show fairly recently. It was Grand Piano. Do you remember that?
I remember hearing about it.
That
Never saw
is a terrific little film that just rides the line of the IMDb 6-star rule. Right now it's at a 5.9, but I'll tell you, it's a better movie than that. A pianist with stage fright endures a performance under the eyes of a mysterious sniper who will shoot and kill him if a wrong note is played. Elijah Wood is the piano player. I had a really good time with that movie. I think you should add that to your list right after Name of the Father.
Okay, I have an In the Name of the Father update. No. I was traveling for work and was out to dinner. Come back to my hotel room, click on the TV. Okay, what's on? Oh, they've got HBO. Great. I don't have HBO at home. I'm scrolling through and I have missed it just ended half an hour ago. In the Name of the Father. And I'm scrolling forward. Is it on HBO East, HBO West? Where is it? Is it coming up again? Because here's my chance. No, it wasn't. I just completely just missed the end of it.
That's actually better. What I expected you to say was it had been a long day and I turned on HBO and I missed the first 2 minutes. But it was still on, and I thought, maybe another time.
The opening credits just ended, and I thought, well, gosh, I might have missed some important piece.
I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah. So I'm getting closer. I know if I cough up some money for an HBO Go or HBO Now subscription or whatever, I can probably get it there. It's just how motivated am I for that? And then I did catch the last half of the documentary that they just put out about the blood testing company, the Theranos, not Thanos, Theranos, that whole debacle. So I did catch the last half of that. And I thought, I really want to see the beginning of that. Maybe I will pay for HBO so I can see that. And by the way, Andy, I might find time for In the Name of the Father. I got to get this thing watched before April 8th hits, because that's when my Criterion channel opens up to gazillion films that I'm
never
going to watch.
Catch up then.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
come on. It's only an 8.1 on the IMDb scale. It's only 8.1.
80%. It's a B.
B.
Yeah, it's a low B, high C. Okay, yeah.
Okay. What's your trailer?
Right. My trailer. Oh, Natalie Portman. I will always sign up for Natalie Portman. I fell in love with Natalie Portman, way back when my wife and I walked in to see this little movie called, The Professional, and thought, who is this kid? She's amazing. And I've just, watched her through her career ups and downs. But I'm always up for sci-fi. I'm always up for something unusual. And when you combine Natalie Portman playing an astronaut who returns to Earth after a transcendent experience during a mission to space and starts to lose touch with reality here on Earth, and knowing that it's directed by Noah Hawley, who is behind, shows such as Legion, which is bonkers. I'm all aboard on this one. Oh, and Pete, by the way, it's got John Hamm. It's got John Hamm for you.
I know my best bud. Oh, God. Exactly. We need to catch up. Me and the ham.
Now, technically, this one is billed as sort of a teaser, but that's all I need on this. I don't need a whole lot of story. I need these amazing visuals and knowing it's a story of somebody that's losing touch with reality. Pete, JJ and Tommy did that whole mind bender thing. This is right in that niche, and I'm all on this. Coming soon, 2019. So no specific release date. This, I have a feeling, looks like it's going to be smaller art house film, maybe not wide distribution, but again, I'm priming the trailer rewind pump with this one, knowing I think JJ will be all on board for this one. If this doesn't go wide release and find this huge audience, and we need to rediscover it on trailer rewind, we'll be happy.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably several times.
I think this just looks fantastic, and you're absolutely right about Noah Hawley, and not just Legion. I know that was that's his. It's a fantastic show, but for me, I'd dip into Fargo any day of the week.
Yeah,
and I had actually forgotten that he was the writer on Bones, and I never got into Bones after season 1, but only because it was usurped by so much other wonderful stuff to watch. Probably In the Name of the Father back then, I don't know. But I'm very excited about that. I do have to note, look at this, announced writing credit, Dr. Doom. What?
Oh.
Written and directed by Noah Hawley, rumored. Dr. Doom tells the origin story of Victor Von Doom and how he becomes the infamous Dr. Doom. I'm into that. That seems like a property that is right up his alley after Legion.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yes.
That's good. That may be what we need to bring the Fantastic Four back into Marvel and into some level of sanity.
Third time's a charm.
Good God.
Wait.
Yeah. Anyhow. All right, Steve. I think
excellent.
we've put it off long enough. Let's bust through these lists.
The nightmare list. Well,
was this okay for you? Did you do all right?
It was tough. I came up with a couple off the top of my head, but I thought, this is going to, I can rely on my IMDb plot keywords for this one, because this isn't really specific. I'm like, this is like a genre of like collapse of a career. So like becoming unemployed, career failures, all of these things. And it's giving me nothing. I was like, are you serious? I know there are movies about this. It's the whole, rise and fall.
Every movie is about this. Every movie. How is it so hard to come up with this list?
I don't know. Because this is for, this is, you guys are starting the Star is Born, which, so yeah, Andy and I talked about this last week. We're like, well, how do we do this without just shooting ourselves in the foot for the next 3 weeks after this? Everybody decided to get collapse of a career out of the way. Great. So
yeah,
we're gonna have to be innovative moving forward. Yeah. Okay. I came up with some, and I don't have a lot of backups on this one, but it's been a while since you've been here. So go first, please. Do us the honors of what you
Steve, you'll be not surprised to know that I'm beginning with a cheat.
Andy's not here. It's all cheats. I was just like, hey, Pete, let's just talk about our favorite movies in general and just say whatever. Oh yeah, somebody lost their job somewhere in subplot, but I don't care. It's Oh yeah, the dad was unemployed in the Goonies. Remember, the dad gets unemployed, right? He's going to lose his job. Right?
Truly.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and that's where we pick up with my pick this week. It is a 1983 film starring Robert Duvall, Tess Harper, Betty Buckley, a very, very young Ellen Barkin. It is the story of Max Sledge, and where we pick up his life is after his career has already sort of ended, and still he has trouble fighting alcohol and discovering how to be a grown-up in relationships. I'm talking about Bruce Beresford's Tender Mercies. This is one of those films that I think my memory of it is that it is a film of enormous humanity, right? It is such a slice of really normal, small town kind of Western Americana, and I found it very touching. I haven't seen it in a long time, but the story picks up where he's an anonymous guy just trying to make a life for himself and trying to commit to making change in his life after, guess what, country singer alcoholism. And I think Robert Duvall, I mean, this was an Oscar-winning performance for Robert Duvall. So this was a touching film, and I think it's the after of our list. So
sure. No,
there you go.
This is one that I have not seen, but it's on my list of things because I worked in a video store in high school, and I remember seeing this and remember hearing great things about this movie, but then looking at this saying, I am not going to connect with this movie. I know this is probably a great film that I am not going to appreciate at this point in my life right now. I will come back to this later. And 30 years pass. Yeah, I probably need to come back.
I think you would appreciate
this
it.
one.
I think you would, and especially seeing Robert Duvall. He's just incredible as Max Sledge. He's incredible. So
yeah, I think this is one that it came up somewhere else recently in some Twitter trail or article I read, and this was mentioned. I thought that's one I know I need to sit down and get that one.
I think so.
Watched.
I think so.
All right. Well, I'm gonna meet you in 1983.
Excellent.
I'm going to meet you right there in 1983. And this is sort of it's not quite a cheat, but there's different reasons why your career could collapse. And one of them might be that, I don't know, you're a whistleblower that's working at a plutonium processing plant. And you happen to be Meryl Streep. Silkwood, 1983. Oh, the reason it came to mind was because completely unrelated. We were talking about these movies that I think my wife and daughter would really enjoy, but they both agreed they will refuse to watch the Mamma Mia movies. And I was like, oh, that was kind of clever, like casting, Cheryl and Meryl Streep in Mamma Mia, Here We Come Again, or whatever that sequel is. And I was like, wow, yeah, I don't know that many people know they were back in this great movie called Silkwood in 1903. I mean, that was really early in both their careers on the cinematic screen, and I have not seen this in a long time, but I just recall this being a really, really powerful film, and in an era when we didn't have a lot of whistleblowers, and corporations could sort of make people possibly disappear. I think there's still mystery regarding what happened to her, and this is one that I put on this list because I don't know that a lot of people, particularly perhaps our younger listeners, are aware of this. Directed by Mike Nichols, Nora Ephron is one of the writers on this. Meryl Streep, Kurt Russell. Speaking of people that don't age, Kurt Russell. He
clearly doesn't age.
Craig
I
T.
saw
Nelson.
that last Guardians of the Galaxy film.
Yes. Oh, but I'm looking at it. Oh my gosh, you've got Fred Ward, Ron Silver.
Well, wasn't it that was written by Nora Ephron, right? I mean, that's
yeah. Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
My problem, it took me a long time to see that movie because I had gotten it so confused with a movie that came out just a little bit before it, The China Syndrome, which was another like nuclear plant thing with another incredible cast, right? Like Jack Lemmon and Michael Douglas. And I mean, it was just an amazing, it was the story of 3 Mile Island. And so Yeah, I mean, so it took me a long time to get through Silkwood. It's a worthy watch for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
See, we started off our list pretty good there. There we are.
The next one I'd like to bring up, I worry. I think you actually have brought this up as a pick before, and so I say this with regret, and that is The Founder, which is the story of the founding of McDonald's. And I like this story because it really is the fall of the brothers of McDonald, the original brothers, Dick and Ray, or Dick and not Ray, Dick and Mac, behind McDonald's as the evil Ray Kroc takes over their restaurant and doesn't pay them enough for it, and closes takes their name off the franchise. And it's just a really sad story of their potential rise to amazing business success. And ultimately, they are overthrown. So, from the eyes of the original brothers, this is definitely a collapse in a career.
Yes, it is, and a great film. Again, with any biopic like this, yes, some liberties you're taking historically regarding consolidating events, whatever. But to me, I really enjoyed that journey. All right, I'm going to match you on that one, Pete. I'm going to give you another Michael Keaton.
Wow, look at this.
I'm going to give you the story of a washed-up superhero actor trying to revive his failing career in Birdman. There we go. Career collapse. I mean, implosion. I mean, like, insanity.
That was it. You ended on insanity. I thought, maybe there's more to that. No, he's right. Yeah. That's just it. That's it.
If you've seen this film, you know what it is. If you haven't, I can't imagine. It. Best Picture. Go see this amazing film, and
I need to see it again.
Michael Keaton's hit this other stride. I do too.
I feel like I have it. This is one that I bought it because I wanted to love it more than I ended up loving it the first couple times I saw it, and I appreciate like little things in it more, and every time I sort of peek into it, I think Emma Stone is amazing in this movie. I think she is a reason to see it.
Yes, it's one I regret not seeing it on the big screen, because I still remember us having a conversation about this film of being a possible film board pick, and then, well, it's not opening that wide. Is it going to, how many people are going to see this? Oh, let's do something else.
The film board list of regret. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. This one I really think would have benefited from seeing. I think small screen, it's still fine, but I think I'm losing some of that awe, just visually, of what was going on in this film. But I've only seen it once, so it's one that I felt like there was so much hype, and then I came to it and said, I enjoyed that. I'm giving it some time to rest a little bit and come back to fresh without the expectations of like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because yes, it is, but that creates certain expectations. I'm trying to let those fade away.
All right, my last pick. This is all of these. I feel like I'm going back in time. I'm now in 1979, and this actually was the first film that I thought of when this came up, and it's one I haven't been able to shake. It was a movie that I didn't see again for a very long time because my parents liked it a lot when it came out, and I was a kid, and so they said, oh, you've got to see this movie. And I thought, who would want to see a movie called The Rose? That sounds weird. So years go by, and I learned, wow, this was originally the story, supposed to be the story of Janis Joplin, originally titled Pearl, but they pulled the rights. The family declined to allow the producers the rights to that story. And so it became this amazing vehicle for Bette Midler to document the rise and fall of this kind of hard-rocking, always seeking approval musician, and trying to find love. And it stars an amazing cast, Alan Bates and Frederick Forrest and Harry Dean Stanton. And at the very end, in the ultimate fall, career collapse, she actually ODs on stage and dies. And I feel like that is the ultimate, sort of exclamation point at the end of this list. The ultimate career collapse. Yeah,
literally, figuratively. on all ends.
It was weird. Like, I knew the song. In fact, in 1979, I was taking piano lessons, and I was probably 81, 82 by the time this happened, and I'm in piano lessons, and my piano teacher says, "Here, now you're going to play the Rose. Some say love," and I'm playing the C, 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 C over and over and over again as I'm learning basic piano, and that, I think, really turned me off to this movie. Why would I see a movie with that song in it? But it turns out it's quite lovely.
Yes.
So, what do you know of the Rose? Do you remember it?
I remember seeing it when I worked at the video store and being in a part of my life where I was really not interested in musicals, even a rock musical. And I'm like, Bette Midler. And first thought, oh, this is just a Bette Midler like concert video. Oh, no, it's a fictional story. Indifferent. So yeah, it's what I know, that movie's out there, but never had anybody say, "Oh, wow, you really need to see this movie."
and Bette Midler is an amazing talent, and I'm not sure. I mean, this was an Academy Award nomination for her. She won the Golden Globe for it, and yet, and I really want to cement, it's a good movie. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm not sure what would get me to sit down and watch it if I were in your shoes. You know what I mean? Like, over something else. I think you would like it. I think you should put it on your post Name of the Father list. But especially to see. I mean, she's really good. In 1979, she was really good. She's so funny.
Yeah.
So and as just an amazing talent, and of course, she's doing all the singing. So
yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
No.
All right.
Consider that
What's
one.
your last
okay.
pick?
I'm not matching you on that. I don't have Bette Midler. I don't have 1979 on that one. And this is, I think this is the first one that came to mind when I was thinking of career collapse, of people, and it sort of led to my whole whistleblower thing. But the idea of when you're forced to make a choice about doing the right thing in your career and what that may do for your career, where it could end that, and the choices that people have to make. And this is one of my favorite movies of an amazing year of Best Pictures in 2007, when George Clooney says, "I'm Shiva, the god of death," in Michael Clayton. You have Michael Clayton's career trajectory, but you also have Tom Wilkinson, and the career-ending choices that he's making. There's so many things that make this movie perfect. I hope people know and have seen this film, because it is 2007. I couldn't pick what is Best Picture that year. You have No Country for Old Men. There was so much, and this is one that, to me, just struck a chord. Tony Gilroy put together an amazing film, writing and directing this with a stellar cast: Tom Wilkinson, Sidney Pollack, Tilda Swinton, George Clooney. This is one that I haven't seen in a while, but I don't need to watch it that often, because it makes, I don't know, it takes me on such an emotional journey. It's a powerful film that I don't want to wear thin by watching it too much, because there's such perfection.
It's sort of a fragile relationship with it that you don't want to screw that up. No, I agree with you, and you're right. That was a tough year. Against There Will Be Blood, another movie that I loved and will only watch once. Juno, I think, was a controversial Best Picture. Atonement, and obviously No Country. Man, big year for Michael Clayton. Oof.
Oh yeah.
There we go. That was good. That was a good list.
That was a good list. Yeah.
Came in a little nervous. I think we have a good set of films there. And we did. Now that brings us to a tough week, another tough week. What are we going to do next week? I
don't know what you're going to do. Let's say we're doing A Star Is Born.
There's A Star Is Born 1954 with Judy Garland. And
Judy Garland.
So coming into this series, I'd definitely seen Chris Christopherson, which is the third one, but if I've seen the Judy Garland version, I have no memory of it. It's a 3-hour epic romp in this universe, the Star Is Born extended cinematic universe. And I only have one suggestion from Andy, which is this. Throwing up in a movie. It happened in the 54 version and made me wonder when the first time someone vomited in a film was, probably back in the Chaplin days. Anyway, there's a brief moment here that allows something different for the list. So thank you, Andy. You're right. We do have throwing up in a movie. So vomiting scenes.
Okay, we've got one.
I'm just going to say vomiting. Just vomiting. Yeah, that's it.
That's
perfect.
fine. That's
what are we going to do, Steve? And have you seen the 54 version?
No, I have not. I've only seen I've seen bits and pieces perhaps of the Streisand Christopherson one, but again, growing up in the 70s and 80s, that was, like, well, it's like melodrama. This is for my parents. I had no interest in that. So I've seen, the most recent one because I'm the demographic for that movie, right? But the other ones, no. So I didn't know that in 1954 they were making 2.5-hour movies about singers and fame and alcoholism and downward spirals.
Let me correct you. 1937, Steve. 1937, They were making movies about singers and fame and actors and fame.
But were they 2.5 hours long?
You're right. You're right. You got me there.
Okay.
James Mason, Judy Garland. They didn't change their names. Vicki Lester and Norman Maine, same as the last one. It's a straight up remake. So what are we going to do here? They do change from acting in the first one to singing. So we do have...
Because Judy Garland can sing, so they decided to go with the singing thing instead of acting. Okay.
What, because she can't act?
Yeah, I don't know.
We shall see.
See.
Movies that had been remade that were based on original movies by Dorothy Parker.
Sure, you go ahead.
I don't know.
Calling out sick on that one.
I don't have a good memory of this movie. How are we supposed to approach this, Steve? Help me. I ask you.
What did we do that we didn't use from this past poll? Because we know we're going to repurpose some things, and we'll give people a shot. Because we've got vomiting, we've got.
Well, we got self-sacrifice, right? That's actually a keyword, plot keyword. So the two plot keywords that are right across from each other on this movie, which I think certainly fit the last movie, self-destructiveness or self-sacrifice. They have a very different tone.
Oh, okay.
So is there something in this idea of self-destructiveness or self-sacrifice that might be useful in coming up with a theme? Or would you like me to move down the list to bare-chested male?
Which is right across from hairy chest. Because it's not necessarily the same thing. Not all bare-chested males have hairy chests, so it's important. Oh my goodness, there's a Wilhelm scream apparently in this movie.
Maybe we should do Wilhelm screams.
No.
Do you know what, Steve? That actually might be the ringer. Best movies with Wilhelm screams.
See, then it was innovative back then. It wasn't a little cliche joke. The self-destructiveness and self-sacrifice. No, that's an important concept because I don't know the story. I mean, I know the general story, but there's always how you finesse that and you tweak a relationship of is it about self-destruct, I guess we could go with the self-destructive piece because that's a little bit different from the career collapse. This is about, and that also covers the alcoholism that we had and it's present here and was a topic there, but it's a little broader in that case of the self-destructive. So we've got vomiting, we've got self-destructive, and
I notice you've left Wilhelm screams.
Wilhelm screams. Bare-chested Wilhelm screams.
The bare chest, the Venn diagram of those films has got to be.
It's very narrow. What else did we have in this? Is our third? Oh, it was coming to Hollywood to become a star. Well, I guess because it's called The Star Is Born.
That's really broad. Well, there's like death of a spouse, right? Death of the death of a husband. That's one that keeps coming back.
One of the strengths I thought of the most recent version, is sort of that whole like meet cute thing that, is in rom-coms, but done, that whole meeting. I don't know how it comes off in this one of when they meet each other.
That's
is
really
it one
interesting.
Of those you fall in love with the relationship.
The 1937 version,
because of how they meet.
They meet in a really sort of beautifully clever way, and I really like it. It gave her a chance to kind of shine. She imitates a waitress at a private party in Hollywood and is serving hors d'oeuvres, and every time she comes up to a different group of industry, wonks, she takes on a different accent, and that's how they end up meeting, and it's just very cute and very clever, and that might be a really interesting pivot. I don't know how they do it in this one, but maybe we drop that in there too, the meet cute.
Sure, yeah, we'll do that, and that one can stick around if if
vomiting,
there we go.
The meet cute and self-destruction.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
Excellent.
Well done, Steve. What's the first thing you're going to watch when we're done with this show?
I have been a charter subscriber to Criterion Channel, although they haven't gone live. But as I signed up, I get access. They do a weekly movie sort of teasing what's going to be available. And there's been lots of stuff that has come by. And I'm like, yeah, I've been always wanting to see that. And just never got time. So they've got Detour this week on there. So it's restored, and it's got some bonus stuff. And I thought, I've seen in Discord lots of talk about that movie back and forth. I thought, I'm going to go see it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's on my list. I thought I can sit down and watch a, sort of classic noir. I will make time for that this weekend.
Outstanding. What is the first thing I'm going to watch? Well, it should surprise no one.
Yeah.
It's going to be 1954's A Star is Born. Yeah, I got to knock that one out.
Pete.
So anyway, great talk. Thanks for hanging out this morning. Happy Saturday matinee, Steve.
Happy Saturday matinee, and we have Patreon people that nobody popped in this week.
Because
I think you know why? Because Andy's been really good about getting little through our Patreon.
Oh, he's been telling people,
pushing out notices.
We're bad at that.
He's been telling people, yeah. And we did not tell people, hey, we're meeting at 7:30 Pacific and all of that. But I know they're gonna enjoy. This is like a hefty sat match for just the two of us.
We hadn't talked in a while.
We covered a lot.
We had a lot of catch up.
Yeah,
a lot of catch up.
Right. Yeah. So we hope we gave our Patreon subscribers there some interesting things to think about, listen, and go find out there.
They'll get what's coming to
this
them
week.
And thank you, all of you patrons, for helping us do what we do. We absolutely do appreciate it, and it is duly noted your constant and vigilant support. So, to all of you, a happy Saturday matinee, and I will catch you next week.
Hondo.